Thank you. Xinhua News. Recently, a high-level official responsible for security policy of the Japanese government said that Japan should possess nuclear possession. After that, it is also claimed by the Japanese side that they do not rule out any option in discussing non-nuclear principles. This has triggered strong criticism from inside and outside Japan. What's China's comment on this? China is shocked at the remarks of the high-level official from the Japanese side, who is also close to its prime minister, that Japan should possess nuclear weapons. Japanese Chief Cabinet Secretary refused to make clarifications. Its defense secretary also said on whether to revise 3 non-nuclear principles that Japan does not rule out any options. Considering that the Japanese media has reported before that the Takaichi Prime Minister planned to revise 3 non-nuclear principles, such remarks is a blatant provocation to post-war international order and nuclear non-proliferation regime, a serious threat to regional and international peace and stability. This has completely gone against Japanese commitment to peaceful development paths and cannot be explained just by private actions, and the international community must stay highly vigilant and firmly opposes this. First, relevant remarks seriously violates the international law obligation that should be fulfilled by the Japanese side. According to the Cairo Declaration, the Potsdam Proclamation, and the Instrument of Surrender, among many other internationally legally binding documents, Japan should be completely disarmed and must not maintain such industries as would enable her to rearm for war. As a non-nuclear weapon state to the NPT, Japan must completely observe the regulations of not permitting, not producing, not possessing, or proliferating nuclear weapons. All of these are international legal obligations that must be fulfilled by the Japanese side instead of bargaining chips that could be negotiated. Secondly, relevant remarks seriously undermines the peace and stability of the world and the Asia-Pacific. The international non-proliferation regime is an important part of the post-war international order. Attempting to possess nuclear weapon by Japan is a serious provocation to the authority and effectiveness of the NPT, will sabotage the common efforts of all countries to safeguard international non-proliferation regime and undermine the hard-won peace and prosperity after the victory of the Second World War. Many countries have voiced clear opposition to such remarks, and many representatives from the Liberal Democratic Party, from inside and outside the government and civil societies, are all shocked, believing that such remarks must not be allowed and the 3 non-nuclear principles must be observed. Third, the Japanese right-wing forces' ambitious attempt of remilitarizing the country is clearly for all to see. Former Japanese political figures once claimed that Japan has a capability of producing nuclear weapons. For a long time, Japan has been manufacturing and possessing the stock of plutonium far beyond what's needed for civilian nuclear power programs, making itself a non-nuclear weapon state capable of producing weapon-level plutonium. If Japan dares to pitch itself against the rest of the world, we will never allow it to testing the bottom line and international justice. Over the recent years, right-wing forces in Japan have been pushing for military buildup. The statement made by senior officials from the office of the Japanese Prime Minister that Japan needs to possess nuclear weapon is yet another example of that these forces are advancing remilitarizing and rearming the country. The situation once again shows that there's a reason why Prime Minister Takaichi made the erroneous and dangerous remarks concerning Taiwan on November the 7th. After coming into office, Takaichi peddled the narrative of the survival-threatening situation, kept blurring policy boundaries, taking actions that exceed red lines, and playing deaf to domestic and international criticisms. In fact, many with insights in Japan have already made their warnings. And we need to ask, with the series of steps taken by the Takaichi government, where exactly Japan is headed.
This year marks the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against the Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. Japanese militarists have waged a war of aggression and committed untold atrocities, creating the darkest page in human history. After its defeat, Japan has never been able to completely eliminate militarism in the country. Some forces have not only failed to reflect on Japan's history of aggression, but also been extremely dissatisfied at the post-war international arrangement. If we sit by and let right-wing forces in Japan develop strong offensive weapons or even own nuclear weapons, they will again bring disaster to the international community, which will be far worse than the atrocities Japan committed during World War II. China and all peace-loving countries in the world are on high alert and firmly opposed to the dangerous tendency Japan has shown on the issue of nuclear weapons, and strongly urge Japan to abide by international law and its constitution. Stop probing and provoking on issues of owning nuclear weapons. Refrain from challenging the post-war international order, and stop plunging further down the wrong path.